What's up, plant lovers? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video I thought I'd give you a little update on the plants that I bought online. It's been about 2 weeks since I bought them, and if you haven't seen the previous video I made about the aphid situation, then I will link that in the description. But basically, to cut a long story short, I bought some plants from Plants for All Seasons and they arrived with an aphid infestation. Lucky me. So I treated that, and it's now been about a week since I kind of did a really huge treatment on them all. And so this is your 2-week update on how the plants are doing. So first, and this was the first one to have the aphids on, this is the first one I discovered them on. This is the Philodendron Brandtianum, and I originally noticed the first aphids on one of the new leaves that was unfurling, and this plant did lose a few leaves, but as you can see, it is really bouncing back. And as I say, some of the new leaves fell off because partly down to the aphid damage, partly down to probably the stress of having to be repotted and treated so soon after being through the post. Normally I would never repot plants so soon after getting them through the post. Of course, I would have left them much longer, but I had to do it as an emergency. But look at that. Plants are way more resilient than we think. I mean, okay, it's only been 2 weeks, so there's still a chance, of course, that something could go wrong, because 2 weeks isn't a huge amount of time. So there is still a chance that things could go wrong. However, I'm letting myself be optimistic because I think this is looking really good, considering some of the leaves have damage, as I say, but it is continuing to put out new growth, and some of the leaves have firmed up again, because quite a few of them, I would say, went quite floppy after I'd repotted it. But I would say so far Philodendron Brandtianum is looking really good, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So yeah, keep your fingers crossed for me. Hopefully things will be okay. So that's that one. And then the other one that was quite badly affected is the Syngonium Pixie, and I actually separated this out into 2 plants. This is one of them, and then I have another one just here. So this one did lose a fair amount of leaves. I'm just going to show you them one at a time because that one's quite heavy. Again, I did lose a fair amount of leaves. I did cut them off. At first I just left it for a few days or so, and I eventually did cut some of the really floppy ones off, the ones that looked the worst, and you can see it does still have some leaves left. I've been examining it every day, as I have with all these plants, to check for aphids. I've been using a magnifying glass. I haven't seen any, as I say, in about a week. New leaves do continue to sprout on these ones, and yeah, overall I'd say it's bouncing back. It's hard to know with this one at the moment. I'd say that out of all of them, possibly this one is looking the worst, but I'll just show you this one too. It's looking a bit bedraggled and it's lost quite a lot of leaves, but I keep obsessively looking for aphids. They're quite hard to see on a plant of this colour because they're pretty much the green that you see here, so they are quite well camouflaged. So you do have to really get in there with your magnifying glass, and I try to put it in a well-lit area. I also have a torch, so I look like a mad woman kind of there with my magnifying glass and my torch, just examining the backs of the leaves, the fronts of the leaves, the stems, everything, every piece of the plant. But usually aphids, I find in this experience, tend to hang out not only on the new leaves that haven't unfurled yet, they like those tender new leaves, they also hang out on the backs of the leaves, so it's really important to check the backs of the leaves. But yeah, I'm hopeful that this one will do okay. The fact that it's still growing new leaves and some of the leaves have perked up gives me hope, although I wouldn't be surprised if this one bit the dust, because it's probably the worst affected, I'd say. And then the other Syngonium I have here is the Syngonium Red Heart. And again, same thing I did with the Syngonium Pixie. I separated these out into two plants just so that the leaves weren't packed so densely, because I need to be able to kind of check the backs of every single leaf, and if they're packed in really densely, there was just no chance of me seeing that. So yeah, I've been checking these, and you can see some of the leaves are looking quite nice. Again, this one did lose a load of leaves too, but it's also kept some, and I'm just hoping that these remaining leaves, or a good portion of them, do manage to survive through this. And I'll show you the other one here. This one is probably a little bit smaller. This one also lost a few leaves. Eventually I will probably put these back up together. This has been me for the last 2 weeks, guys. I've just been constantly checking these things, really hoping that I won't see any, and I haven't seen any, so I'm not sure at what point I'm going to breathe a sigh of relief and declare these pests free, but you know, the fact that I've managed to save the plants, I think, so far is really good. This was one of the ones I was most excited about, because I am kind of obsessed with pink Syngoniums, even though it's called the Red Heart. It's more of a pink really, isn't it? Another of the plants I got that I was really super excited about is the Syngonium Albo. I was super excited about this one. It's been on my wish list for ages. And you can see here, this little guy, I actually separated this little baby. There's a few cuttings in there, but they were far smaller than the other cuttings, and they had less roots. So I decided to take them out and pop them up on their own. And the reason I decided to do that is because I figured the care would be slightly different, what with them not having quite as established roots. And often I tend to find, in my experience anyway, that when you get two plants in a pot, one plant is more advanced than the other. Very often the very smallest one tends to die off. So I thought I would separate this guy out, but he's had some new leaves, and you can see he's doing really well. Really lovely variegation. And also, let me show you. This was the original main plant, and I potted all these ones up together. So the last leaf that this one had was this little green one here. That was the one that had last come through, and I thought maybe the plant had reverted, but you can see there's a new leaf that's come out on the end here, and it's actually got some really nice variegation on it, this one, so it doesn't look like it's reverted. But again, some of these leaves are more green than others, but there's quite a lot of really nice variegation coming through on this one. You can see it there. It's a really pretty plant. I'm really happy I got this one, even though I had to deal with the aphid situation. I'm still really happy that I bought it. This one was definitely really high on my wish list, and eventually I shall get this one climbing up a pole. Also takes some propagations as well. And then the last plant that I got was this Syngonium Mottled, or some people call it the Syngonium Mojito, but this plant was the only one out of the lot that did not have any pests. So I was very suspicious, I have to admit, and I did treat it with insecticidal soap just in case, and I've been keeping an eye on it, but I've seen no damage from pests. I've seen no pests. It's almost too good to be true, because they were in the box with this plant. So I have been keeping a close eye on it, and at the moment I know I'm kind of close to my other plants because I'm talking to you. This is kind of my area to film with good light, but generally I have been keeping all of these plants in isolation. They've been well isolated from all of my plants, so yeah, I'm just hoping that I've done the right thing. But yeah, this Syngonium, absolutely gorgeous. It's continued to grow amazing new leaves, and yeah, this is definitely one of my firm favourites, I have to tell you. I just absolutely adore this plant. It looks so gorgeous growing up this pole, and I just love the mottled variegation on it. So yeah, so happy with that, and I'm just hoping that no pests manifest on this one. Have I got away with it? I don't know, but I'm just really hoping I have. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Until next time, look after your plants and look after yourself. Bye for now.